Hello and welcome back to another episode of SpearCast. I'm your host, Nick.
Along with Christian.
And today we are also again joined by Mr. Aaron Johnson.
Hello, it's good to be back.
And we, as SpearCast, are excited to be back as well. It took us a little bit to get things rolling, but you know what? We're back. We're here. A lot of sports to go over. A lot of big news to go over. From football, basketball, the start of tennis, golf, all and just sports as a whole here at San Jose State. A whole lot of news. And arguably the biggest thing to come out of this winter season, I guess you can say, this off season for football. Biggest piece of news, Ken Niumatalolo getting signed as our new head coach. And him bringing along a whole new coaching staff, so the whole new face for San Jose State football. What do you guys think about former Navy head coach being signed for us?
I'm excited. I'm excited to see how he does. You know, obviously I was really sad when we lost Brennan. You know, he's put in the work. Legendary tenure for him. He got us to 3 bowl games, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just excited to see how Ken takes over and looking forward to the future of the team. He's already recruited sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, obviously a big name, but, some of his accolades, or probably the biggest one, most winningest coach in Navy school history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had a long tenure at Navy. Last time we met here for SpearCast, we were discussing possible coaches that we could have hired, and his name did not come up, I think, but
none of us were expecting it.
No, none of us were expecting it, but after we get the sense that it was a good hire, I think we all like the hire. Some of us have met him. And one thing that was notable at the introductory press conference was when our athletic director, Jeff Konya, said, we're not just getting a football coach, we're getting a leader of men. So that kind of tells you about the type of person Coach Ken is going to be.
Yeah, he is a leader of men. Before coming here, he was at San Jose. He was not San Jose. He was in UCLA, and they actually created a position for him, the leadership role or something like that.
Yeah,
over at UCLA. So that goes to show, going off of what Christian said, he is a leader of men, and which is something that. Obviously, it's a lot to say about him, and I did look up the record at Navy: 109 wins, 83 losses.
That's pretty good.
Winning record. Yeah, I think it's a great hiring. And then he also brought in a offensive coordinator, Craig Stutzman from Texas State, run and shoot offense, very much air raid offense. So that's going to differ from what Ken's traditional triple option offense at Navy. So it's going to he's going to be a new element. And also notable is our defensive coordinator, Coach Odom, is staying. He was not one of the many coaches who departed from SJSU to Arizona with Brent Brennan. So
which it felt like he almost took his entire staff.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And then a lot of the star players followed him to Arizona as well.
Yeah, that is true. But so far, it's been interesting to see. Today we just had an even National Signing Day, and so they're recruiting around the Bay Area. They've been recruiting. That was one thing Ken made clear is he wants to recruit people here in the Bay Area, whether community colleges or high school. That was one thing he made clear at his press conference.
Yeah, today we got a Lamar Radcliffe and, sorry if I say this wrong, Tuli Tagovailoa Amosa, which is happens to be Tua's cousin. So
Tagovailoa's cousin.
So friendship ended with Chuba Purdy. Tuli Tagovailoa Amosa is now my new best friend.
It's going to be interesting to see, though, because obviously, he's a freshman quarterback, and then we already have a quarterback as well. Yeah. So I wonder if it's going to be more of a seniority thing, or if obviously, I
don't think he's going to come in and start immediately, probably.
Yeah, no way. I think Jay Butterfield, I think it's kind of his job to lose.
It's his time now.
Yeah. Transfer from Oregon.
Was in the shadow of Cordero.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He learned under Cordero, you could say. Yeah, I think it's time for them. Everybody's saying, we're losing all these seniors, but that happens to a lot of college teams. It's not like the NFL where you can keep these guys for 10 years if they're really good. There's always going to be turnover in college sports, so I think there should be more faith among people in Spartan Nation.
It's definitely going to be interesting, though, considering now that we know who our coach is. It's going to be interesting to see how he handles a big rivalry game, and obviously he's used to big rivalry games, the Navy and Army games.
Ooh, yeah.
But now it's going to be San Jose State versus Stanford, in which we haven't seen a rivalry game in who knows how long. But then we just added 6 games to our schedule for the next 6 years.
Yeah.
And then obviously the first one being here at home, which is going to be a big one because obviously
Stanford's right down the road.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, me and Christian saw it at a soccer game once. The Stanford fans show out. And that was soccer.
Yeah, that was
So-
a men's soccer game. And
so
San Jose does too.
Yeah, so football is going to be interesting, especially a big rivalry game like
And
that.
then that even goes back, that rivalry as of recent, if we don't look in the very far past, if we look at recently, just between the two schools in athletics, baseball, like that's how we played them in playoffs, we lost to them. And we're going to be replaying them this year here in the regular season too. So that's like kind of adding like a rivalry between these two schools that are like, what, 20 minutes, 30 minutes away?
I mean, the Bill Walsh legacy game. So,
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
of
if
course.
they're, I mean, it even has a title to it.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, Bill Walsh. I mean, everybody. Bill Walsh is a name that the Bay Area knows very well, being a legendary 49ers coach. Yeah, so that alone will attract people to the game too.
Yeah,
even.
I mean, and at that, the first game being November 30th, Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh yeah, I didn't
So-
even think about that. People will be in town from out of town, or
People are going to be in town, time off.
Yeah.
So if there should be a big turnout at least.
Yeah, but I trust Coach Ken. I think he's going to be able to handle this, adversity really well, stuff like that. I mean, being at Navy for that many years, one thing I got is one thing he cares about. It's bigger than football for him. He really loves his players.
It's a more of a connection thing for him.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the story he told us about when he was at Navy. He would just tell the players to go walk and to go to the hotel, whatever, while him and his coaching staff would carry the bags for the players. And then as he was talking about that story, he actually started to cry and say how he wanted to show the players how much they loved him, how much they loved them. Sorry. And it was emotional.
Yeah.
And he really just does love football. He loves the players that he coaches. He just loves everything about it.
Yeah.
And it's dedication that like something like that like San Jose State is going to love, obviously, as well.
Yeah, and then another big thing was the reports before we hired a head coach and that surge was we wanted someone with head coaching experience. And I'm not, who those reports were, the sources were, but they got somebody with head coaching experience. I mean, Navy, 15 years or so, and then
And then one season at UCLA shortly.
Yeah, and that UCLA season was under Chip Kelly, a legendary college football coach.
Yeah. But, I mean, obviously, one thing is just we definitely, as we mentioned last time, we felt Saban's retirement.
Yeah,
Which is still crazy.
And Saban's retirement affected San Jose State.
But, I mean, we got a good hire out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ken was a home run hit. That's what everybody's saying, home run hire. That was kind of the feeling. I mean, even though some players did hop in the transfer portal, but we also attracted some players from the transfer portal too, and I think we'll continue to add more players. And I think it might be year one, might not be ideal, but
it's a refresher for San Jose State this season.
I think they wanted Ken because he's a guy who shows he can commit to a school long term, especially at a school like Navy where you don't get the best selection of guys because they're also signing up to be in the Navy.
Yeah.
So here, what could he do here? Like if he was very successful at Navy. They went to a lot of bowl games
and a lot of Army wins.
Yeah. At the beginning, towards the end, what was it? 3 in a row. That's kind of why he was pushed out. But one thing he even said after, like, it was so hard leaving Navy was leaving because he loved those kids so much that he coached. Like he built up, the bond with them. Yeah.
But for the culture, for the 408.
Yeah. Quick note, I remember too seeing on social media one thing that the players used to do. They would call themselves Ken's men, and they would run out with a flag that says Ken's men. So that's how much like the players, his previous players that he's coached, got
comfortable with him.
Yeah.
And another thing to note too is like we spent a lot of time with Coach Ken, just talking to him in that press conference. We spent a lot of time just being around him. I remember coincidentally talking to his wife because she was just there in the press conference and she was wanting to know to everybody. I think she walked up to every single media person that was there and shook their hand and asked for their name just so they get familiar, because obviously like we're gonna be around a lot.
Yeah.
And then I remember her talking to me and someone else, and then she goes, "Yeah, that Sunday night that we first got here, we were here till 10 o'clock at night talking to every single player that wanted to come in and just talk."
Yeah.
And so to be here just like till 10 at night, talking to every single guy that came into his room, to like questions, concerns, whatever it was, whatever they talked about behind closed doors, he cares. And that's something that like it just stands out to players and it's going to stand out to the community, because obviously San Jose State is a community school. I mean, all the programs are very involved and everything, especially the football team is at that.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be it's going to be just a great to see, like, regardless. It's going to be a shift one way or another.
Yeah, and he's also, in case you didn't have any doubts yet, he's also a very competitive person. One thing he does, usually on his time off, when I talk to him, because I saw he did it at Navy all the time, he plays tennis on his time off. And he told me, he's like, I can't get to tennis yet because he had to figure out his staff and what players he was bringing in still. But he plans to continue to play tennis when he gets a chance to. So that shows his competitive spirit.
So if you're in San Jose and you're listening to this, you drive down South Campus and you drive past the tennis courts, you'll probably see Coach Ken.
Yeah, maybe in the summer. Yeah. We'll see. In the off season, yeah.
But I think that's enough for football. Let's switch over to the other big sport.
Not as fun news though.
No.
Yeah, Aaron,
we'll kick it off to you.
You've been following them this entire winter, and now coming to spring. Give us the rundown.
Yeah, it's just disappointing, man. We are obviously, we're 1-9 in conference right now. We're dead last. We're a half game behind Air Force right now. Jeez. Air Force is 1-8, and Air Force is the only team we've beaten in the Mountain West. So it's not looking good. And we won on a kind of a fluke, a play that broke down essentially. It was supposed to be an inbound play. I'm not gonna remember who it was supposed to be to. It was supposed to be an inbound play, but then they ended up passing out to Amy, and he was like, he had to just hit a step back 3 buzzer beater win. That's our only conference win, and it's disappointing because
how long ago was that?
That was our last win was January 13th, and
we are filming this February 7th.
Yeah, and it's disappointing because I saw a lot of promise in this team, especially when we beat Santa Clara and we almost beat San Diego State. Like, at that moment, Santa Clara's beating Gonzaga this year. This is a good team, and, like, when I've talked to MJ or Myron Amy in the press conferences, he said, like, we have the talent in this team to do it. Like, people fear us when they play us, like, we showed that we can play, like, the best teams, and they did do that. But, man, it is just, ever since that San Diego State loss, after the Air Force win, it's just been all downhill. Yeah. We have not been able to close out games, and second half has been really tough for us, man, and it just shows that with Robert Villahola being out, we just really lack that big inside presence. Like Adrame Jong, he's very athletic. He's second in the Mountain West in blocks. He plays good defense, able to like create some opportunities, but it's just the rebounding that we're really missing from, and also the fact that he can't really play like a full game because he gets in foul trouble a lot too. That's really what we're missing. And whatever it is, man, it sucks. The vibe there is really, everyone's really frustrated, upset, and especially coming off one of the best seasons in school history to this, it's just like night and day. So,
do you think it's an effect of just Viola or obviously of Amari Moore as well?
It's definitely both, but just the loss of Viola is just a lot more apparent right now. You can see it. Like, you can really just be like, okay, because there's certain games where like MJ's kind of stepped up and dropped like 20 points, scored 20, and like what Amari Moore would do last year. But just the fact that we don't have any bigs, we're playing Christian Wise, who's a freshman, who's a 6'6", he's like a 3. He's getting minutes at the 5. He's out rebounding pretty much everyone on the team. So the last few games, at least, I should say, not like this whole season because he's been getting more minutes recently. But yeah.
But then going back to what you mentioned, San Diego State. I mean, they've been on top of those NCAA polls the entire time. They've consistently have been nationally ranked the entire time. But obviously we only lost by 3 points.
Yeah.
And obviously San Diego State having a big body like Leedy, and then who possibly could go high rounds in the NBA draft. I mean, what do you think? Like how we fared against him? Obviously, only being back 3 points.
Well, no, we didn't fare great against him at all. We how much did he drop? He dropped 30 something, like 31, 30, like 30, around there. And also when we played Utah State, another top team, their center Great Osibor, he dropped like 30. He also dropped 30 plus, and he shot from the free throw line, if I'm not mistaken, 19 to like 20 times.
Dang.
So it was kind of insane. Just like we have no really counters just for like these big physical guys. Yeah. Especially even in the last game against Fresno, like number 13 on the team, I'm forgetting his name right now, but he really just kind of backed our guys down, posted them up, and that's really tough. I mean, we had DJ Satius get minutes in the San Diego State game you're talking about, and even Tim Mouse said that's not my ideal matchup for him. I don't want him to like have to go against Ladie right like that. But that's kind of what he's been forced to do, is kind of try and make this like makeshift 5 position work, like getting a lot of different guys. Never seen Christian Wise get some action in there, and yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's tough, because I really thought this team could compete with the top guys after we beat Santa Clara. Competed with San Diego State. Like Trey Anderson just like dunks that ball. There's a lot of games that like 1 or 2 calls or balls go a different way. Like we could easily have like 4 more wins right now. Honestly,
I have a game for you, Aaron.
Okay.
If you're in Tim Miles' shoes, what would you do differently, or what would you tell the team?
Do better.
Listen, I mean, that's kind of what I've been asking him like a lot. I'm just like trying to get like a general idea, like what's like how you gonna like motivate the guys. I mean, like honestly, I don't know what I would do differently, man. Because it's a tough spot right now. He's without Viola. I've already said he's without Ryan Perry. So they're kind of like they're getting like the younger guys are getting more minutes now. And I mean, at this point, we're a young team, right? If I'm Tim Miles, honestly, like obviously we're in the Mountain West tournament, right? So I'd say with these last few games, maybe get the young guys some time to develop, like he's been doing. Christian Wise, Ricky Mitchell Jr. has been playing a little bit more recently, and I don't know. It's just like because it's tough because he's kind of like tried switching it up already. It's not like he's just stuck to the same thing every time. It's just kind of like even himself said it. He's just like I just need to find a core group of guys that can gel together well, you know. But if I'm Tim Miles, I'm trying to keep them positive. Like, look, we almost beat like San Diego State. That's a ranked team, you know. Like we beat Santa Clara. I'll just try and keep them positive, but it's tough at this point, you know.
It's like for me, like obviously, like almost like an outsider perspective because I don't watch basketball like as much as you guys, but you know, like at the start of the game, the energy is there. Like they're all like vibing, they're all having fun and everything, and they're still like having fun. They're being a team, you know. But like once it hits game time, once it hits that like second half or like late in the game, it's like they just fall apart almost.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, in the Fresno State game, we didn't score in the last 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah,
and it was tough because we regained momentum pretty much right after. We haven't mentioned this yet, but in the last game, Tibet Gorner broke the all-time San Jose State 3-point record on a shot. It's pretty much after that we kind of went on a run. I believe we got up 7 at one point.
Dude, the momentum change was insane because after he hit that, the stadium just whatever you want to call it, the event center just blew up, and then like you can tell like it was a whole vibe switch, and the team was in it. You know, everybody was cheering and they were all for it. But then after like a few minutes, like you just said, we're about to say, it's just dead, essentially.
It's interesting. Like I don't know what it is exactly. It's just one of those things, man. And also, another thing to note is just perimeter defense has been an issue for San Jose State. We give up the highest percentage of threes in the Mountain West. We give up, I believe, teams are shooting like over 40% against us this season, which is just you're not going to win a lot of games like that. But on the other side, on the flip side, we also have the highest 3-point percentage in the Mountain West as well. I don't know the actual numbers because I'm sorry, I should have prepared. Sorry, SpearCast listeners, but that is true. That was at least the case at the Nevada game. But
obviously you and I were there, and I was on the court taking pictures of it. Mm-hmm. But how was it to like just see Tibet like in your eyes to just break that? Well, obviously then right in front of you at that.
Yeah. No, it was really cool, man. It was really cool to witness just a moment of SJSU history. I just like Tibet said in the post game press conference, I just wish it came with the win as well. That's what we're all hoping right now.
But I mean, obviously that's all they're hoping for. They can care less about like the tournament right now. They're trying to get some
momentum. Yeah, get some momentum. I mean, we're 1-9 in conference. That means we're 1-9 in our last 10. So it's a tough stretch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough season, and I think it's been the same on the flip side for the women too. It was a tough weekend for the Spartans.
It was tough. It was.
But now switching from the hard court to the beam to the chalk. To the floor.
Ooh.
Gymnastics.
Ooh.
I was just trying to name off things. If that worked, it worked. I'm gonna go for it.
The floor.
Yeah. But I mean, our gymnastics team has been popping off lately. I don't know if you guys have seen. I mean,
I've heard about it, but I haven't like looked too in depth into it. But
it's just a lot too. One of the first events of the year, we had we went up against the Illinois, Washington, and Denver, the Super 16 Gymnastics Championships. So it's called. And apparently those teams are some of the best in the nation, finishing top like 5, if not. And then we only finished 4th. We finished with 194 points. But, I mean, to go against that school and then have that high of a score, I mean, it's pretty well.
Yeah, it's big.
And then, obviously, this is obviously the first season with the Mountain West Gymnastics, which is huge. Obviously, we're just doing some events, like just to have some events. But then now it's an actual season. They're competing for a championship eventually. And then, the last 2 events we've won. So it seems like there's a chance that we can. There's a chance that another sport besides water polo, which is most recent, could bring home a conference championship, which is huge.
That would be huge. And our baseball team also, right? They were up there last year, right?
Yeah, last year they brought home the Mountain West championship, and then they faced off in the NCAA regional against Stanford and Texas.
Yeah, that's great.
I think it was Texas, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping
and Fullerton.
Yep.
It was those 4 in the Stanford regional.
Yeah, I'm hoping our gymnastics can do it because that'd be crazy. Because I didn't even know this was the first year of Mountain West Play, if I'm being honest with you. Just full transparency. So that'd be cool if they can do it. Hey, we could be the first ones.
Yeah, I mean,
cool title.
Yeah, it'd be a cool title for obviously first, like you said. Yeah, then obviously, hopefully, like you just brought up, our baseball team does it again. You know, I've talked to a lot of people, the head coach, some of the SIDs and everything. Everybody around that team just is confident. It's just, you know, we might struggle on pitching for a little bit because it's a young pitching staff. But besides that, I mean, I think we have it locked down because I've talked to everybody. They said that the bats are hot. And I remember this one guy. I went to practice one time. I forgot his name. Oh, I wish I remembered his name, but he was just hitting bombs in every single pitch he hit. It was during batting practice. It was just a bomb. It was just loud off the bat and everything. So balls are gonna be flying out of excitement.
Yeah, excited for that for sure.
This is gonna be a fun spring semester of Spartan coverage, and we hope to provide you guys with all that good stuff.
Yeah, and then obviously, and then what else is going on this spring? Softball as well.
Same thing.
Exactly.
The same goal for every team, right? Climb the mountain.
Climb the mountain.
Climb that mountain.
That's what everybody says here.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all that we have for you today. Obviously, it's the start of a lot of seasons. We're gonna be going a lot longer. We're gonna be going for it. As all the sports do, we're gonna climb the mountain to grow SpearCast. We're gonna get it as best it could be. But with that, I've been your host, Nick.
Your host, Christian.
And this is Aaron.
And we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.